CBT News celebrates 12 years of delivering news, content, coaching, and analysis to the retail automotive community. The strongest team in automotive media, CBT News.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for joining us here today on CBT Now on the CBT Automotive Network. Joining us now is Marianne Johnson, Chief Product Officer at Cox Automotive. Thank you, Marianne, for taking the time out of your busy schedule there at Cox to join us on the show.
Yeah, my pleasure to be here.
Sure. We unfortunately couldn't get together at NADA. It was a little crazy to say the least, but we have you here now. So thank you so much for joining us. And so artificial intelligence was, I don't need to tell you, was certainly the buzzword for 2024 and in our industry and a focus at NADA this year. How is Cox Automotive using AI today and why?
Well, we've talked in the past, AI is not new. AI has been around for, more than 10 years. It's machine learning, neural networks. So for us, it's not a new story. So we've been leveraging AI across all of our products and services. One that would highlight that you probably have talked a lot about in the past is vAuto. vAuto is a completely AI-driven analytics tool that we put in the hands of the dealers. And we have AI behind almost all of our consumer insights. We have it in our valuations. We have it built into our CRM. We have it built into our service drive with X time. So it's not new. So I almost can't think of a product that we don't have some level of machine learning against the data insights that we have plugged in. What is really new and why I think it was such a buzzword for 24, and let's talk about what 25 is really going to be like.
Yeah.
But what's new is, I would say, over the past year and slightly into the previous year of 23, you had OpenAI and Microsoft innovating against two things that really kind of hit a tipping point on what we call generative AI.
Right.
Really what that is the amount of data that was available, in the internet, for an example, and then the compute power that was increased. Those two things kind of hit at the same time to create a tipping point. So a large language model, you hear that term, LLM.
Yeah. Yep.
A large language model absolutely was able to then process. You didn't have the compute power to go through that amount of data.
Yeah.
And didn't have that amount of data over the years. So when those two hit at the kind of the same tipping point, you were able to have a model to be able to go through and predict the next action or generate an image or generate the next word and predict something. So that was a change. That was a tipping point.
Okay.
But what has happened since then, it has been massive acceleration, and anybody that has the data and anybody that's been leveraging AI to be able to do a lot of different things. So we leaned in because we had a base. I have a pretty meaningful size team.
Oh, yeah.
I have over 250 data scientists.
Wow.
And I would say over 50 of those are PhDs that are very, trained in machine learning, deep learning models, neural networks, computer vision. So when some of these new models were made available, we took those and put those on our proprietary data assets. And the thing I guess I would emphasize the most, and we can talk about some of the products that we're leveraging AI and generative AI on and kind of bring it to life for the audience. But I would highlight the data. You don't have any, whether it's legacy AI, generative AI, or what's the new thing we should touch on is agentic AI. None of that really matters if you don't have the right data to use and that you tell the model how to interpret the data so the model can learn on the data. So the foundation of all of this is good quality, differentiated data.
Right. All roads lead to data, right? I mean, all of this is great, but if you don't have it, you're in trouble. So where is there demonstrated value being delivered to your clients through those AI-powered products? You mentioned a few of them.
Yeah, well, let me talk about maybe a couple of examples. So our consumer data, we've unlocked that data into our CRM, for an example. So you've heard us talk about DriveQ as our data lake and our consumer data platform. But all those unique insights that we know about Marianne, what she owns today, how many times she's been in the service drive, if I'm shopping, what I can afford,
Right.
If I'm in market right now, all of those unique insights that we're able to curate and have responsibility as a good steward over in AutoTrader, Dealer.com, Venn, Xtime, DealerTrack, and KBB, all of those. So we took those unique insights that we had and we made it available to our dealers to be able to create very personalized, relevant, and timely messaging over chat, text, or email to a consumer. So in the past, a lot of dealers would have ways to reach out. They were kind of templates, kind of basic things like, Jim, are you interested in a vehicle? We have, XYZ vehicle available for you. Well, now those really unique insights, we curate that and we write the message on behalf of the dealer. And so it becomes very personalized to what you were just looking at. It becomes market, very tailored. And that way the consumer's like, okay, they know me, they know what I'm interested in. And then we allow what we call in the AI space, human in the loop. We let the dealer still be able to curate, change anything, tweak it. Because Jim, they were just talking to you yesterday and they wanted to do a follow-up. They can reference that previous conversation, but still have a very well-written, very precise, with the right tone. We make that automated for them with the push of a button. And the percent increase we're seeing in engagement is crazy.
I could imagine that is fascinating. What are some of the pitfalls when it comes to AI and auto retail specifically?
I think I'm going to go back to data. If your data isn't on point, it's current, it's relevant and timely, your messaging may not be on point and it may actually turn the consumer off. So that's one. You hear hallucinations. Again, if the data and how you do prompt, what we refer to in the tech space as prompt engineering, how you train that model to have the right tone and make sure that it's right, it could go off the rails. It could send the incorrect message. It could have the right incorrect tone. It could interpret it differently. So you have to have the right engineering team that knows how to train the model. You have to be using the right models. Not all models behave the same. And they're moving fast. So you got to make sure that you have good QA on top of that. So it's data, it's intellect and aptitude to be able to leverage the models correctly and make sure they don't hallucinate and that they are using the quality of the data. So it can unintentionally do things you don't intend it to do. I would say the other thing is, and we'll get into talking about agentic AI, which is agents. Agentic, it stands for agents. Doing the work for you.
Unbelievable,
Yeah, so if you think about the model might predict what car Jim wants, and it may send a message to Jim. Do you want that agent to book the appointment for Jim automatically? Do you want that agent to take action on a decision for you? You got to have some confidence that action is the right action. So we're early days on agentic. And what we're doing very aggressively is being able to validate at the lowest level of risk when an action should be taken, and there's no harm, no foul. And as decisions and actions a model could take for you instead of a person making that decision. To make sure that we're pragmatically walking up and making sure that we're comfortable that there's no regrets decisions that you take that the agent is enabled to do. Now you say, are they going to replace the jobs of humans? And in many ways, it's going to take lower level tasks off the table. And the way I talk about it in my world as an engineer or coding, and they have code assistants through AI. If you're in a dealership and you have a particular job, I would view everything that's going on with AI, generative AI, and agentic AI, and in one simple kind of phrase, it's a great assistant. It is going to make every opportunity more productive so that your workforce can work on higher value activity and you can retrain them to do different things. It automatically should give every business, every industry a productivity lift if used correctly. And you are training it on the correct data.
It's fantastic. So this also, I think, it cures a number of different ills, but one of them is obviously there's a big turnover in the retail auto industry. There has been for so many years, And I think this helps in a big way to keep that consistency in that communication with the dealer's customer. Yes, it's the salesperson's customer as well, or the service advisor's customer, but it's really the dealer's customer that's got to take good care of that person and stay in touch with them on a consistent basis in a professional manner, regardless of whether or not that team member has left the organization, right? I mean,
I would even say training. Take it to the example of if you have information of your business process flow and content that you want anyone in a BDC to be talking to a consumer, that information now through a chat, through generative AI, can make it super easy to keep that information current and to train. If that associate wants to be able to tell me what I need to say here, or how I need to handle this, or what all the information that they need, it happens to be at their fingertips now and easy to access. We did that. I don't know if you get a chance to see it, but in our Retail 360 portfolio, in Deal Central, whether the consumer starts online, comes into the dealership, goes back online, we took all of those unique insights and we put them in a very simple way, simple view for the associate at the dealership to know exactly what I've spent in the past with the dealership, how many times I've been in the service bay, what my household owns.
That is fantastic.
What can I afford? And how to engage with me at that moment in time. So they don't have to go search. They don't have to go figure it out. They don't have to do pre-planning. It's all at their fingertips, curated already for them. So that's an example, but you could turn that type of capability on any data and any unstructured data.
This, I'm putting my dealer hat on here for a second, and I'm getting blown away with what you're telling me. But what would you tell the dealer principal who's still a little leery of relying on AI in his or her, operation? Because there's a lot of dealers out there. Maybe they're boomers like me, and they're just like, wait a minute, this is out of my reach. What do you say to them?
Well, first of all, I would say I'm a boomer too, and I self-identify as a digital native, so they can too. I would say that, you just want to get started and find your trusted partner. I'm a little biased with Cox Automotive, but I think it goes back to who has the right amount of data that helps them and who has the intelligence to be able to do so in a way that is responsible and allows them to see the productivity, see the lift. And I would say get started. You can aim small, miss small, and get going, because this is like the internet. It's not going away. You're not going to put the genie back in the bottle. This is happening. We just have to do it responsibly, pragmatically, and create value. And I believe the human in the loop, the worker, is always going to add value and personalize it. I don't think that's going to go away. I think it is a great productivity improvement. And I'll give you an example. In my world, I have spun up an accelerator. So all of my engineers who are doing software development to maintain the platforms I have, those lower level maintain activities, I hope this year to be able to put agents on those so that activity is now automated. And have more capacity to do more innovation faster than we already do. That's an example. So productivity lifts, and we're here to partner. And I spent a couple hours with a dealer partner Friday, and his comment back to me was, yes, we saw a lot of people saying AI in ADA, but you have the data, Cox. And then like, you're right. And so we are very, what I'm calling pragmatically aggressive, going after that in every area that matters to to the consumer.
And that's key. There's no question about it. And dealers today, they have a responsibility to not just their staff and their employees at the dealership to give them the best tools in order to win those customers over, but they also owe it to their customer base, do they not? I mean, they really want us to be in this world of AI and the best technology available, right?
When it boils down to something, they want you to know them, know me. Don't waste my time. I don't have a lot of time. And when you're curating an experience for me that is relevant and really matched up to what I'm looking for, you're going to delight the customer. So, an example of that, just thinking about it, we did a F&I intelligence and automation AI play just recently that we launched in ADA 2025. But it is intelligently routing any credit app to the lender for that dealer that's in their portfolio of lenders that we know that consumer can get qualified for. Versus And that's an experience,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Know what the consumer can afford, give them something that they're likely to take and accept that rate on, because that lender is going to make them a valid offer. And then we're automating the entire back end. It's interesting. It's an ecosystem of automation to artificial intelligence, agents who can actually take the action for you. And it's a continuum of things that are going to bring a different consumer experience, a different associate experience. You just made my job easier.
Yeah, of course.
And,
yeah.
And more effective. So
That's right.
it's a continuum of what tools the right thing for the right outcome.
And to your point, it allows these individuals at the dealership to do more in their day because they've got this as a tool, and it really it really speaks so much to the capability that those associates have and the productivity that they're going to be, able to achieve. Right? I mean, it's really one of the best tools out there that, and of course, with 250 people on your team there working diligently to make sure that all of this is working on dealers' behalf. We certainly appreciate all the time that you've given us. You must be one very busy woman today. So thank you so much. Marianne Johnson, Chief Product Officer at Cox Automotive. Thank you again for spending so much time with us. Love to do a follow-up with you to see how these programs are moving along.
Yeah, we'll have a lot to talk about this year. So let's do that.
Let's do it. Great. Thanks so much.